E360 TV proudly presents Messages of Inspirational Stories TV show. Live streaming now to millions of devices around the world on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, YouTube Live, Facebook live streaming. Our shows are available video on demand on these channels. And we broadcast daily, Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on these channels. On Mondays, Expanding Your Business. Tuesdays, Natural Health and Wellness. On Wednesdays, we cover mentoring our youth. And on Thursdays, our new show, Ideas Worth Knowing. And on Fridays, Women in Leadership. To be able to watch our television show on your favorite device, please go to e360tv.com and download the app for your favorite device. Brought to you by our producers and hosts, Jim Grant and Donna Guinois. Along with our hosts, Beata Severin Reed and Emerson Brantley. Supported by our admin team of Michaela Vidal and Gaia Guinois Balconi Hueda. And welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. The Messages of Inspirational Stories is proudly brought to you by the good guys at the 6minutewebinar.com. The 6-minute webinar, you know what I'm going to say, you folks that follow the show, but it is a wonderful way for you to be able to get the one thing that you can do for your client or your customer. And what I mean by that, when someone comes to your website or someone contacts you on a phone or however they contact you, they want to know one thing. Can you solve their problem? Are you the person they're looking for? Because most people, they want to use the shotgun effect. Well, we do this and we do that, and we also do the other. People don't care about that. The 6-minute webinar enables you to do a professional presentation with an introduction, a body, a close, and a call to action all within 6 minutes. I think we've all been there when we've clicked on something of interest and they go on for 10 or 15 minutes about what the problem is. Well, you understand what the problem is, or otherwise you wouldn't be there. In other words, you waste their time. And people don't care, like I said before, they don't care what all the things that you do. They just want to know whatever it is that they're coming to look for from you. They want to know if you are the person that they can know, like, trust, and want to do business with. That's a prerequisite. People buy you before they buy any product or program that you have for sale. We're also brought to you by a good friend of ours, Mr. Bill Heinrich, The 7 Levels of Truth. And Mr. Bill is, this book took 30 years in the making. This is about how he found himself, his life story. And the process, he realized that a lot of other people could benefit from his journey. And I'm just going to share with you the top portion of this here because I want you to listen to the words to this, to see what's in it for you. This book is for anyone that's seeking answers, solutions, and success in life. Now, pay attention to this. Your birthright. Your birthright, just like you have the right to breathe and your heart beat to produce blood in your veins, your birthright is for you to enjoy the abundance of life, the joy and the peace in life that is filled with love. That's what makes life worth living. And the 7 levels of truth that will help you find all those answers and help you get from where you are to where you want to be. Again, this is the cover of the 7 levels of truth. Mr. Bill Heinrich, that's his picture there. He's a personal friend of mine. And I'd also want to give a shout out to a good friend of mine, Austin J. Haynes. After I had my heart attack, open heart surgery, and 4 bypasses, Austin wanted me to share my story in this book with about 10 other authors, and it's about your health turnaround story. And everyone in here, they had an amazing story about how they turned their health around. In my particular case, I could not use statin drugs. They didn't make me feel good. I'm not knocking those medications. I'm just saying that I knew, based on the way I felt, I had to find something else. And I found the Health Heart Pack that is offered through Melaleuca. And also, I found the value by researching through many cardiologists and the test that they showed about the benefits of dandelion tea. So if you have a health issue, whatever it might be, do your homework, do your research. I'm not suggesting anything. I'm not a doctor or not qualified or anything. I'm just saying that after I researched dandelion tea, that was the right choice for me. So research dandelion tea with any ailment that concerns you or your loved one. Okay? And I'm joined today by co-host here on Wednesdays, Mr. Adam Green. How you doing, sir?
Hey, everybody. Nice to see you. Nice to be around. Hey, Jim. Always good to see you. Nice to be around.
Well, thank you. It's always good to be seen. Let me put it to you like that, because I'm going to be 75 in a few days, and going through all the things that I've been through, I'm as plumb proud to be here. You know what I mean?
We'll be picking all the apples from the apple tree, that's for sure.
There you go. It sure beats shaking hands with the Undertaker, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
But
No doubt.
I'm very blessed in life, and in our lives, one of the things that's really valuable, one of our gifts that you have, I have, Adam has, and our guest, Mr. Tim Spencer, has. He'll be with us in just a couple of moments. But you have a specific gift and ability to be a blessing to someone else. That's our calling in life. It's not about bank accounts, big cars, and big houses. Those are nice. But that is not what can make you happy. You know, I was telling a guy one time, I've never seen a store where you can stop and go in and buy happiness. You know what I mean? Hey, we have happiness for sale. We got 50% off this weekend just because we like you. You know, and I'm being a little facetious there, I realize, but true happiness comes from how you can bless others. And the beauty of it is, this is the one thing about energy. This is what Bill talks a lot about this book here, and I want you to expand on this when I get done jabbering here.
Oh, yeah.
There's only two emotions on planet Earth. There's fear and there's love. That's it. Everything falls under one of those two categories. We're born into a world of survival. And we all know how quickly fear can grip us with doubts, worries, concerns, and oh my goodness, you know.
Yeah.
And
I
all
love
that
I
does.
love that same analogy about like nurture and nature as well.
Oh,
Turning
yeah.
into, survival of each
Sure.
and what that means. So,
Sure.
I guess that book expands
Mm.
more upon that.
You know what Bill Heinrich told me one time? I was listening to him when he told me. I was listening to him tell someone else this. We were interviewing Bill on the show. And he says, you know how you handle fear? I'll tell you. And this is Bill. I'm mimicking what he said. He says,
Yeah. And you're
Come
kind
here.
of like, how?
Yeah.
What's going on with that?
yeah, come here, fear. I love you. And the reason why I love you, fear, listen to this, folks. If I love you, that gives me the power to release you and let you go, and you do not own me. Wow. I like that because, when you think about it, when you let fear conquer you, you become a slave to fear.
I definitely
really
think
do.
that that's a beautiful analogy and a perfect person, person that can do that kind of thing for themselves. That really puts you in a position of healing, especially for certain things that you may have experienced in your life. Where you kind of surround yourself with those types of people that can bring the fear to you, and then you confront it with that same safe space around you.
Yeah.
It's super important, I see, that
It really
a lot,
is.
around a lot of people.
Yeah, because the first prerequisite in life is to love yourself and love everybody else. Let's be honest. Because none of us want to see anybody be destroyed eternally. We want everybody to go to a better place. And just between me and you, Adam, you folks out there in TV land don't pay any attention to this. I've often said, I hope they go to heaven, but I hope in God's wisdom He'll put them way over on the other side somewhere. And that's not right. We know that. Let's be honest about it. But it's good. It's good for a giggle or two. And it's like my dear old mother used to tell me, Sonny boy, it's the thought that counts. But sincerely,
And sometimes we pray for things that are, enjoyable for others to have,
oh,
rather than
yeah.
ourselves. And I feel like that's
Oh,
very
yeah.
good and righteous in a
Hey,
sense because,
just
yeah.
recently, I got to share this. Pardon me for interrupting you, but I got this energy. I prayed and prayed and prayed nights in a row. I told you about the incident that happened to me before we went, while we were backstage and all.
The mhm.
And I prayed for that door to be open. And I wondered why it wasn't. And there was a reason. And then I saw the reason, and other doors opened for me, which is helping me get from where I am to where I want to be, because no matter where you are right now, it's the perfect place for you. Embrace it. Because this is where you are, but this is not where you're going to be
It's
a
an
year
in the
from now.
moment figure of imagination and perception
Oh,
when
yeah.
you're going, throughout life and you have challenges. These
Yes.
challenges present themselves in many different forms and fashions, and I believe there's obstacles that sometimes come about, challenges. I mean, each individual person will have those all the time along the
Oh,
way.
yeah.
So it's really why we talk about these things because they're important to talk about, especially on subjects of mental health.
Oh, yeah.
They're very important aspects to your train of thought, so to speak, where you have to
Yes,
go
it
down
really
these roads of
is.
uncomfortability to get to the
Oh,
actual
yeah.
results and answers. And we all know you have to put the coin in the machine to play the game, right? So
There
it's
you go.
you have to
And
find a way.
And also to embrace the fact when you pray for something and you want it to come through and you wonder if the Señor in the sky, as I like to call him, if he hears the prayer, if he answers the prayer, he answers every single prayer. It isn't most of the time the way we want it. But think about when you look in the rear view mirror of life, something that you really prayed for, you really wanted, and it didn't come to pass, and you look at it now and you say, "Whew, boy, I'm glad I didn't get that." If you're honest with yourself. And see, that's a good example of how we all need to be there for each other, and especially our young people today. My
I definitely,
goodness
yeah, I have a
gracious.
definite quick story about that because as a
Go
young
ahead.
person, you really want freedom. And what is freedom to a young person nowadays? Well,
Mm,
getting a car is a great example. And I
mm.
would say that there is an absolute great feeling when you actually get to drive behind the wheels
By
of a
yourself.
vehicle. Oh,
Yeah.
by yourself, without your parents nagging you and taking all this time to find out. And I pray for the parents too when when their children are getting into that freedom because it's
Oh,
scary.
yeah. Hmm.
But also, you find yourself in that same position where when you were younger, wow, what a time to be
Oh,
whenever you had a vehicle. And that's where I'm tying it back to whenever I prayed to get a car finally, but then it came with insurance and tires breaking and all this other mechanical issues, and I didn't know what to do at that point. I was probably 16 years old, and I was just out of luck, tough out of mind
oh,
and
yeah.
money, of course, so it
Oh,
was like
yeah.
it was like
Oh, yeah.
just trying to get to work was a hassle sometimes when the
Oh, yeah.
tires went out. So, I mean, that's
Yeah.
everyone can relate to that
Oh,
side of
yeah.
things when you're going and getting a car and first
Hmm.
getting into it and learning about insurance, learning
Hmm.
about your mileage and your oil and transmission, all these different parts of the car. And that's also, just relation to every part of
Hmm.
um, why we're even, here today, which I actually wanted to introduce Tim
Mm-hmm.
as someone that I met on a festival day,
Mm-hmm.
and it was very wonderful because when I was looking for jobs, when I was looking for work, I found um, for some reason I found this online, and I found no, actually I was talking to someone at a recent music shop, and for
Mm-hmm.
some reason he was a bandmate and he was playing at a certain thing that night. So
Mm-hmm.
he gave me this guy's number, and Phil was the guy, and he basically let me work for the day on the stuff, making sure everything was set up, and then when the time was right, I could break some stuff down, for the next day or show up the next day and keep, learning how to work these festivals.
Mm-hmm.
So when I did that, I was asking him if I can get some more audio experience. Well, lo and behold, there was this man, Tim. They were telling me to go and see at one of the booths so
Mm-hmm.
that, he said he needed some help. So I left myself the path, and I was like, okay, I found it. Hi,
Mm-hmm.
are you Tim? And this very tall man approached me and said, yes, I am. Do you
Mm-hmm.
mind holding this for a second while I go do something? I was like, okay, cool. I'll just sit here and manage and mix and make sure it's live. um,
Uh-huh.
and that was my, he gave me this opportunity, this kind of mentory feeling where, hey, I'm going to teach you something real quick by letting you just do it,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just going to go to the bathroom or something, like that kind of opportunistic moment
Mm-hmm.
where you get to experience what you wanted to do,
Mm-hmm.
even though you may not know what to do.
Oh
just
yeah.
just saying, because I definitely didn't know how to live mix at all.
And just think how that,
And
yeah, just think how that journey now has led you to me. And now we're going to introduce Mr. Tim Spencer to the show, invite him to the stage here. And also, little did you know by meeting him that today he's going to be able to share some message for folks out there in TV land. And he'll be able to say some things out there that some of the folks will need to hear so they can share with young people. Tim, welcome to the show, my man. How you doing?
Hey, good. Doing real good.
So glad to have you.
Yeah,
Adam,
glad to be here.
would you introduce Tim a little bit more and let Tim, then after that, Tim, let you just share a minute or so about who you
Sure.
are and go ahead,
So
Tim.
yeah, I mean, me and Tim, we've known each other for about a year now,
Yeah.
and I believe he was my first real live mixing mentor. Him and I kind of kicked it off when I took his iPad or laptop and I sat down. He was like, "Can you do something like this?" And I was like, "I don't know, but we'll figure it out." And then he started teaching me what all these what bus meant, which I didn't know
Yeah.
what a bus was, so he taught me that.
I still
Uh,
don't. So,
Neither do I. But we still get
uh,
there eventually,
yeah.
and that kind of thing. So that was when I think Just a Few Frogs was the band that I was
Hmm.
there for. And yeah, the buddy of mine, when I met him, I was over in Lake Nona, over if you know Orlando area.
Mm-hmm.
There was a little music shop there that was doing lessons, and I met the drumming teacher instructor, and that's kind of when I was getting into, well, I play trumpet. Why not teach some kids trumpet? And I guess they weren't looking for any more teachers that day, so I did. Instead, I just networked myself as I do, telling
Mm-hmm.
everybody who I am and that kind of thing, and met I think it was John. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
don't quote me on that. But yeah, he pointed me in the right direction, and then me and Tim met.
Mm-hmm.
He was really cool. Tim has also got me on other things. We did
Mm-hmm.
some worship. I got to experience his beautiful voice, his
Mm-hmm.
beautiful musicianship as well. Just saying,
Musicianship.
this
Mm-hmm.
man
What a
is a
nice man.
beautiful voice. He has
Yeah.
a beautiful arrangement of sounds with his
Yeah.
team. And I feel like, learning more about Tim was he was in ministry
Mm-hmm.
for a while. But I'll let Tim,
Yeah, I was
man,
going to say,
tell me a
hey,
little bit
Tim,
about,
I was, I was
because I
about
have
ready to
some
say,
questions.
Tim, is there anything else you can add to that? Go ahead, Tim.
Because I
Enough about
barely
me.
know
Let's
where
talk
you're
about me.
from.
Yeah.
Tell me
Oh,
where you're at.
well, yeah. Well, man, it's always a pleasure when I get to hang out with Adam. We've had some good times over the I think 3 or 4 things that we've done together, and they've all been fun. But
Mhm.
my name is Tim, and I live in Ormond Beach, Florida. I play
Mm.
in a band called the Aura Street Mission Band.
Mm.
Music available on all platforms. And we started out playing at a Teen Challenge mission that was on Aura Street in Daytona. That was a few
Mhm.
years ago. But we just love playing Christian music, music that glorifies God. And we played in drug rehabs and juvenile
Mhm.
detention centers, and churches and all over the place. And I saw a need in town for a lot of other Christian bands that didn't have a lot of opportunities to play, was to create a festival. And this year we did our second Future City Music Festival.
Mhm.
And Adam was there, and I tell you, Adam, he surprised me, because I was like, "Hey man, do you wanna come help us out? We need as many sound engineers as we can get." And he was coming over, like, not expecting any payment. He just coming over just to do it. And I was like, we were able to do something for him, but I was like so touched that he came over, just
Mhm.
wanting to give, just wanting to be a part of it, and not expecting, but a labor is worth his wages. So it's not
Oh
like
yeah.
we don't pay or don't
Yeah.
want to pay people, but they want
Mhm.
people to do stuff for free.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, that's
It,
wonderful. Let me ask you a question there, Tim. A lot of young people today, they're searching for truth. They're searching
hmm
for a way to feel good about themselves, because we all realized back when we were teenagers how we struggled, trying to
sure,
fit in with the in crowd, and which was, I really can't say the wrong crowd for me, because I grew up in a small town, and everybody
hmm
was, really decent. We didn't have any problems or anything like that. But in today's society, a lot of kids are so bombarded with all this stuff that is not mentally healthy for them.
sure,
mm,
yeah,
And I
true.
imagine that when you're singing those uplifting, positive songs, I imagine that resonates with the frequency and their energy. And I'd like for you to expand on that, if you would, sir, if you can, how that has maybe not surprised you, but you've had someone that you've made an impression on. Let me put it like that. You know.
yeah. I think that the time we had the most impact was doing at the it's a Stewart Marchman is the name of the facility here in DeLand, or in the Daytona area.
Hmm.
It's a youth kind of rehab, trying kind of a pre-juvenile, like these kids are in trouble and they're in this facility.
Mm.
And just playing our songs, and in my mind it's just, hey, this is a song that was inspired maybe by scripture, maybe I felt like God gave me the song. And then when you sing it and you see that it resonates with someone, they're like, wow, that song really meant something to me. You realize that all your efforts aren't in vain. And
Mm.
God uses people to convey his message, to convey his love to other
Mm.
people. So you feel like you're being utilized, and the whole purpose of your creation is being realized at that moment. So
Mm.
uh, you know,
It's
yeah,
You know,
it's really it's
yeah.
really amazing to me that, and I tell people all the time, just like on this show here, really what we're having is just a mini mastermind, and the way the energy works, there's going to be ideas that come
hmm
to us, and we will share whatever that thought might be, because we really believe and we recognize, and I believe I believe this all in my heart. There's someone, if there's just one person out there in TV land that needs to hear that comment to help them in their hour of need. That's the reason why that energy or that idea came to me. And the same is true for you folks out there in TV land. You know someone that might need a positive word. You might know
right.
someone that needs a helping hand. When that idea and that energy comes to you, don't think about it. Just pack your bags and go right there.
Yeah,
Get into
your
action.
action your action will cause that reaction that is,
Hmm.
you know, if,
yeah,
even if it's a, hey, or, how was your evening, I
Yeah.
heard that you were going out this way, or if you haven't heard, what have you done, I haven't heard anything, for a
Hmm.
while.
Yeah.
or something of that matter. And that always, that touch, that virtual touch, or that kind of, spiritual touch of checking in and caring, very
Mhm.
much,
Yeah.
impacts and
Yeah.
imprints on people.
Because
You
connecting
know,
like that, Tim, I imagine
and I
when
was
you see the impact that you made with those young people, wow, that just reflected back onto you,
Yeah.
and that recharged your positive energy, didn't it?
Sure. Sure.
Hmm.
Yeah. Kind of makes you feel like the effort was worth it. It wasn't just wasted
Yeah.
effort. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got family that live in Daytona Beach and Ormond Beach and
Yeah.
that area there. It's been a long time since I've been down there to see them. I don't know why they hadn't invited me back, but anyway, I'm sure they got a good reason. No,
I'm sure. It's a
I'm
good
just
reason.
joking around. We're all
Yeah.
busy and with
maybe
our lives and stuff.
they're
Maybe they're
not
more
all enjoying
intelligent.
it with you, and that's probably, they get jealous if you're just there by yourself.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. But really, I had two aunts and two uncles back in the '50s. We used to drive down from North Carolina there and visit them, and I was amazed at. That was the first time I ever ate a fresh tangerine off of a tree,
Mm.
and I'm telling you, I was hooked. I was spoiled instantly because those tangerines, oh, they were so sweet. I loved them, and still do. I mean, that brings back precious memory. And a little thing like a tangerine can make that kind of impression and bring, precious memories to you, and it just sticks in your mind. And that's what makes life worth living. And, I treasure those moments. And
Yeah.
those are valuable moments. And those are the kind of stories, little things like that you could share with youth or anybody to help lighten their load or brighten their day or whatever, because everybody, we all need a friend.
Yeah.
Yes,
Nobody
Tim,
nobody gets to the age where they don't need a mentor. I'm
I
75 and I'm looking for younger mentors because the older mentors
Yeah.
I'm not going to
Yeah.
go there. I'm going to be nice. I'm just
And
kidding anyway, guys.
I
you
haven't
know,
really
it's good.
put out there that I was gonna like wonder um, what you got into at when this all started,
Hmm.
youth ministry, when you began it. What was that moment? I just kind of want to embrace where that moment was,
Sure.
and if you could explain that a little
Good
more.
question. Well, I grew up in a divorced, kind of a double broken home, I guess, which whenever you bring up your childhood issues, there's always somebody that had it worse. So I
Hmm.
recognized that others had it worse.
Hmm.
I had a tough situation because in my normalcy grid, that's my life that I had to live every day. So when I went to church, it was really to find companionship and find family and find kind of a home, so to speak, a home away from home. And one of the things that they let me do was play drums. And as
Hmm.
a 16-year-old kid, to get to play drums in front of his peers, I mean, it was like Madison Square Garden every single week. I would be thinking
Mhm.
about what I was going to play, what I was going to wear. I had my drums tuned up, and I had to kind of set them up and tear them down every week because I didn't want to leave them there because I wanted to practice. So, I mean, it was a major effort for me, and I looked forward to that. Like it was the hugest deal to me, and probably to the adults that were around were like, "What's this kid so excited about?" Because I had my thing that I could do, and in retrospect, I'm sure there could have been a little bit more mentoring on their part because
Oh,
I was
but you
young
built a
and
passion because you wanted to practice and hit these
oh
beautiful,
yeah,
simple strums.
I wanted to
Hmm.
be good. And a lot of it is that kind of natural, normal, peer recognition that we all, strive for. I think it's just a normal part of our makeup. We
So
shouldn't
your
put too
peers
much.
definitely influenced a lot of your practice, would you
Sure, I
say?
wanted to be good in front of my friends. Yeah, I didn't
Oh
want to go
yeah,
up there and
Hmm.
I wanted to impress them with my massive fills and my cool beats and
for sure.
But the youth pastor, he was really invested in letting me do it, and I mean that was a huge part of me kind of growing and having a little bit of a success and responsibility in that area.
Okay. Yeah, I mean
Hmm.
that's amazing too, because that moment you expressed, having this love for yourself, which you have, and which is what you have is I'm better at this than most, which is a very good influencer, as well as because of your personal development. And
Hmm.
if a lot of people out there, in TV land, or where you're at, it's very important you're sharing these moments with yourself, where you can actually dive deep into those things. So that's really interesting to me, that your peers really, influence that decision to be the top, as well as
Sure.
yourself having that
Yeah.
mentality that you are the top
Mhm.
Yeah.
player at the church.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever have a moment when you grew up out of more the youth being and now youth pastoring? What
Yeah.
was a maybe a moment that you shared with someone influentially that changed maybe a mindset of theirs to bring them more towards God's graces, in our current
Sure.
world,
Yeah. So I mean, you brought about kind of that urgency or that something you to share something or to say something. I mean, I kind of felt that
Hmm.
was a life is my stint as a youth pastor. Like these kids were just showing up to this meeting we were having, and we were, in retrospect, a little ashamed. I
Hmm.
didn't get as seriously as I probably should have. It much more gravity in
Hmm.
moments, and I was
Mhm.
prepared. You know, this kid up and there was real need lives,
Hmm. We're
and I
having a little bit of,
recognized that.
I
we're
just
having,
realized something. I'm so sorry. Yeah,
yeah,
we're having
we have
some
a little bit
audio
of
issues.
audio issues there, Tim. I don't know if you did something different or what,
Oh,
Not
yeah,
that I know of.
no.
it's breaking up a little bit. So
It's got a robotic filter going on.
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm hearing you guys say.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
okay,
let's
So it's probably my network.
fine. No, it's
okay,
I have no clue what it could be.
yeah.
Um,
I don't
Probably
either.
network.
mm,
Yeah. I tell you what, why don't you, we'll put you backstage, let you go back out, come back in, and hopefully that'll
See
clear
if
it up.
that fixes it. Yeah, definitely.
And,
Okay.
Tim, while you're gone, we're going to talk about you. That be okay?
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. And ladies and gentlemen, we
Yeah, because what
apologize
I would
for
think he
that.
was saying was um, what I remember he was putting most of these individuals who were coming at him more with these
Hmm.
testimonies of issues and
Yeah.
problems, and where he was putting himself
Hmm.
uh, were in those places
Hmm.
of people who are rehabilitating
Yeah.
and finding out who they are,
Hmm.
going through that process alone,
Yeah.
or not with the full support they probably could have with others. And
Hmm.
I know that there are people like that in the world that have it, like he said in the beginning of this, worse than us. And
Hmm.
I believe that sympathy and empathy are very important to bring to each of those individuals. More empathy than sympathy, I feel, for those people, in a sense, can't put
Hmm.
a real number or ledger to
Hmm.
someone feeling that way.
Yeah.
It's an immense, intense pain that is caused by a
Hmm.
root of many different things. So
Oh,
hopefully
yeah.
I'm not sounding like a robot either. I was just wondering.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
didn't know if I
You
just went
know,
all Terminator on you or not.
yeah.
Good.
Oh yeah, you're good. You're
Oh,
good. We're
sweet.
watching Tim back there. He's, ladies and gentlemen, he's got a hammer and he's a tapping that thing. He's a fixing on it. And
Yeah,
give me a thumbs up when you think you got it right and want to come back. Okay, all right,
I
we'll
think he was
bring him
putting the
back in.
barbed wire up right afterwards too,
Yeah,
to make sure we
yeah,
got the
yeah, he
sound
was.
barrier
Yeah,
back.
there you go. He got his
So,
tinfoil up and all
oh,
that. So
let's
there
do
he is.
maybe a unmute, and then that might work.
Oh yeah,
Let's see.
unmute your mic there. Your mic is still muted.
Hmm.
Hmm.
It's okay. It
Yeah,
happens
that's
to me all the time. I have this button on
yeah.
my computer keyboard
Hmm.
that I press sometimes to mute and unmute.
Oh yeah,
It's a pain.
and you might
Either
look
that
down
or if
there.
it's a configuration.
It could
Trying.
be there
It's
on the
okay.
lower on the lower left. You might see a mute stop
Totally fine.
camera
I've got my
settings.
Scarlett hooked up with me over here,
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
don't know.
That's why I like to be wired. I just that way I don't have to worry about anything. And but sincerely,
I
as
mean,
Tim
we're
was
audio
breaking,
wizards. We talked about Tim and I talked about being retired audio wizards. At some point, he said he was like, I'm good with the audio on the the live end,
Okay.
so that's why me and him have this connection now. Not entirely, maybe a little gain or what's it called?
Okay,
Amp
his
power.
gain is up real high there.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I can bear. It's like a tin can for some reason. Um,
Yeah, it sounds like you got
kind
an
of.
engine running in the background, so we'll put you backstage, let you work on it some
We're
more.
getting close though. You're getting very close. I can hear you slightly.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
we'll put him
But that's
backstage
yeah.
there and let him
That
work
back
on it
to
a
what
little more. Yeah.
I was putting out was like him and I have this connection now where I'm becoming more of the audio side, helping on most of the gigs. I wouldn't say most of the gigs because we haven't had too many so far.
Yeah.
On my invitation part, he's probably been doing so many different shows. You know, other than Future City Music Festival.
Oh yeah.
Great music festival, by the way. It was a blast. And I'm talking like this music is not your average Christian, you know, rock music. It's an experience, and I mean well crafted, very
It's
well
still
in
there.
tune with each other. You
Yeah.
know, these great players. I mean, the bass player alone was a fantastic, you know, bass player.
Oh yeah.
And Tim, although he does play the drums, he's transitioned into this vocal and guitar, you know,
Oh
and he's
yeah.
practiced a lot, and he's definitely, you can see it when you're on when he's on stage.
Oh yeah.
It's
The
such
thing
a different
about
experience. So
the thing about music too, music has that stickability to us because how many times have we been riding down the road and a song comes on and automatically it takes you back to a point in time in your life, and it's a good memory, and that is the power of music, and I can see the value of what Tim is doing because he can use the music to be able to communicate with young people. And ladies and gentlemen, on the ticker tape there at the bottom of the screen there, you will see The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. And I encourage you to share that link with anybody. It's just simply The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. And I've told this story many times before for you folks out there in TV land. You know what I'm going to say, but it's important, I feel, to say it again. The first time I met Mr. Earl Nightingale, I knew who he was. I'd seen his picture in the paper. Let me see if Tim's got his audio fixed yet. Hey, I think he does. How about,
yeah,
yeah,
sounds
yeah.
like it.
Yeah,
Sounds like
and
a
let me
winner.
finish.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yay.
yeah, exactly. Let me just finish this quick little story here, and I'll turn it back over to you since you got your mic there. You had to put some quarters in that thing, I know. But Earl, we saw this big black car drive into the service station where I was at. This is in '67, I think, somewhere along in there, right before I went in the military. And this guy got out, and I recognized him. And of course, when he spoke with that deep, gravelly voice of his,
Ooh.
I knew exactly because he was on all the radios. Earl Nightingale. And his car was overheating. The steam was just coming out of the radiator there from the front. But what he did, this is a very important lesson. He didn't let that destroy his spirit. He came in. Of course, now we didn't have cell phones. We didn't even know what a cell phone was. And he walked over to the payphone. He called whoever he was supposed to see, and he says, stopped at this station here. My car's overheating. I'm going to be running late. And he says, as soon as they get it fixed, it's going to take a while for it to cool off. I will call you and let you know about what time to expect me. And that was the end of the call. He sat down, he opened up his briefcase, and he started, doing some things he needed to do. So he used that downtime for productive time, but he did not let it destroy his spirit. And when you go to the YouTube channel there, The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale, you're going to be amazed at his story. A lot of people do not know that he was a survivor of Pearl Harbor. He was on the Arizona. He was one of the few Marines that made it off that ship. So when he talked about,
Wow.
life, the importance of life, he's got some skin in the game. And Tim, we were just talking when you were back there, working on your mic, and had a hammer out there and a screwdriver and I don't know what all.
I think you got the barbed wire up.
There you go. Yep.
You got the barbed wire,
yeah, got the rabbit ears with the tinfoil on it. Now, you young people don't know what I'm talking about, but that's okay.
Is that called an antenna? I believe it's called an antenna.
Oh, I don't remember.
Maybe.
Yep. Yeah, we had an antenna one time, with rabbit ears on it, put the tinfoil in between it. We were uptown doing that. Let me tell you.
Isn't that the one that has the sparks that go in between it too? Sometimes.
Only on an exciting show.
Okay.
But, we were talking about how music, a song comes on the radio and how it can take you back to that moment. You're there instantly. And I can see the value of what you're doing with your music, being able to reach out to young people, because the music that they hear that resonates with them, they will remember that forever. And when they hear that song again, whenever they do, it's going to take them back to that moment of how they felt, because that's what it does. And I'll guarantee you, Tim, I bet many, 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 many times you don't even realize yourself how much you've touched someone's life, or how many people you have touched.
I
In
agree
your
with that.
I hope so.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I
hope
know
so.
you have. I know you have.
I wonder if the brain, I'm no brain expert, stores the sound of that song next to the memory of that event. So when you access either one, if you hear the song, it's like, oh, right next to this song is this event, this memory that you had of this time.
Oh, in my case,
there's a neural synapse. I did study the brain a little bit on when I was in college, and the whole thing is like there's a musical actual like study that they did reading brain waves, and when music is introduced to the brain, different synapses and all of your neural pathways light up a lot more than if you were traditionally listening to white noise. And primarily, it's more on the right-hand side of your brain, your creative side, which all of those, as well as the backer kind of subconscious sides, which is that memory intake. And that absolutely makes sense, because when we are, when light comes into our eyes and we are reading these sights and hearing these sounds, they are all associated and written down almost like on a disc of a record. And they're put into, this is the memory of said event for, X amount of time. And that's how our brains categorize these memories in a sense. But no, music is so powerful in so many different ways. I mean, they have therapies and different medical treatments that are involved with music as well. But I really would like to, if I could, Tim, just ask about one of your songs.
Sure.
I can't remember exactly which one it was called.
Can you hum a few notes of it or sing it?
But it was the one that you played at the most recent Fire
At One Fire, our
One
Christian
Fire.
Music Showcase at One Fire,
just tell me the process, the beginning to the end. I just want to know what was going on when you wrote the song, and then when you first performed it, and then now when you performed it at that last, the last time I at least heard it.
You may be talking about the song called New Mirror, and New Mirror is a song that is based in I think it's Romans 12, where I guess the story was, as a young man, after kind of going through some troubled stuff and divorces and screaming and fights and that kind of stuff growing up, it kind of hangs on you. And there was a time when my stepdad, we had a wood stove. I don't know, it was in the 80s, and for some reason we had a wood stove. So he would get the wood dropped off and we'd have to stack it. And I would swear, as a kid, I felt like he had the wood intentionally dropped further away than it needed to be to give us more work.
Oh my.
As an adult, it's not the end of the world, but as a kid, I'm like, we hate doing this. You're just making it worse, right? So we had this wheelbarrow. I don't know. I can't remember the name of the wheelbarrow. It's the kind that's doesn't have a bucket. It's just like a flat with there's a certain name for it. Anyway, so I made a little wooden ramp to make it real efficient because we had an old sidewalk that roots had pushed up. So to get the wood where we needed to, I had to bounce this wheelbarrow over with wood on it. So I made a little ramp out of some scrap wood. My stepdad came over and he said, "Wow, Tim, finally using your head."
Mm.
And as a kid, I thought, finally?
Wow.
You mean I've never used my head until you think I'm stupid? Now I just came up with this and now I'm a genius. Like, it was so impactful that I don't remember anything else that happened that day, but I remember that. And that sticks
Yeah.
with you as a kid. And I have a parent. I have 4 kids. And I know the dumb things I've said. I've tried to undo them and recognize them, but that never happened.
Oh, yeah.
For me.
Oh, yeah.
So I grew up. I'm a 25-year-old man, and I still see myself as this 12-year-old kid that made a little wood ramp.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that God made me in His image. I'm an imager of God. And
yeah.
once I realized that my self-image was a culmination of the things people have said to me, done to me, and the way they treated me in my life, all of a sudden I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I don't have to have this image of myself anymore. I'm a grown man. I'm competent. I'm capable. I can do all these things.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
needed a new mirror. I needed to be able to see myself the way that God sees me.
Mhm.
And then really that was like a watershed moment in my life where I realized, hey, wait a minute. I can do things. I'm good at stuff. I'm competent. I'm capable.
It's
I have
that
dreams that I
want
can
to drive.
accomplish.
You found it, yeah, and you knew about it, and you finally believed in that moment. That's
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, I was.
More-
I'm so glad you were
yeah.
touched by one of our songs.
I was,
Oh, yeah.
it was awesome. I was like, it was catchy. It was very, articulate. I would say a lot of songs nowadays are very flowy, and they do have that high energy and that spiritual energy. But there's something different about how when you and your beautiful band, go up on stage, that there's this electricity that shocks the ground, grounds us all to God, and just puts them in the room,
Wow.
and the Holy Spirit
That's
just surrounds all
Yeah.
of us. And I seriously do mean
You know-
that as much as I can, because I felt it, in that moment, that there was this light, touching my heart, and I just,
Wow.
there's that awesomeness that comes with it too, as like it's groovy,
Yeah.
So
One thing
Yeah.
that came to mind with that story, it reminded me that we all have specific gifts and talents. And here Tim had that desire and that gift and that talent to create that song. But he was just the person to put it together. And look what an impact it had on Adam. And when you think about your life, the gifts and talents, when it comes to singing, oh my goodness gracious, I've been paid to sing. They give me $20 to shut up in a hurry. Okay? But my point being, you may not have a musical talent, but the gifts that you do have and your ability to be able to do something for someone else, oh my goodness. That's the icing on the
impactful.
cake. That's the icing on the cake of life. Let's just say if you have the ability and you get the idea to drive over to an elderly person's home and take them to the grocery store to pick up some groceries, a little thing like that. That is a big thing for someone that's elderly that doesn't have a car, and you could save them on a cab fare or whatever, or you can call them up and you can set up a time for you to go by and pick them up. You've given them respect. You've given them honor. You've told them you're important enough for me to call you and to set up a time to do something specifically for you, and I expect nothing in return. That is powerful. And Tim, in your case, you got that ability to write songs, and little did you know the impact it's going to have on Adam there. But that's just one drop in the ocean, because that thing is going to bless other people. Otherwise, you would never had that inspiration to do it. That's what you do with all energy. You share energy. Yeah. That's what makes life worth living. And Tim, in your work with your band and all that, and the work that you've done with young people, that's going to pay dividends down the road. Because even if you just change one life, And I know you're going to change more than that, but if just one, think about that, how that's going to domino and go on. That is extremely powerful.
I've definitely seen it too, because
Mm-hmm.
you know, when you're in that space, you know, for example, the Future City Music Festival, when you're in that space with those people, you know, there is a lot of church camaraderie, as well as people who have people who know each other.
Oh, yeah.
And you can definitely see that, and those people who have supported each other before
Yeah.
come out. And I just have, you know, this beautiful way to go about whenever I work things. But I put that out there because I didn't realize at some point I was just having a conversation with some random strangers, and they were showing me how, you know, how wonderful their son was doing, you know, with high class, you know, Cardi B, you know, Ice Cube, people who are already very high up in the industry, and you know, who have been in this music genre field for a long time. And I was just, you know, these just random people. I was making sure,
Oh, yeah.
I guess someone was safe, you know, going to the restroom. And then all of a sudden, now, you know, now we're here, and I'm talking to this wonderful fellow and his wonderful wife. And they show me his you know, Instagram, and then, you know, future stuff that he's done.
Yeah.
But yeah,
We've got
it's those
about
moments.
We've got about 5 minutes left, and I just want to share this very quickly and get Tim's input on this. When I was an instructor in the military, I was a 31 uniform certified instructor with the Army. There were times when I'd teach a class and the energy was in there and people were, you know, learning, and it was good, positive vibe. At break time, or, you know, in the evening, people were slow to leave. They didn't not want to leave that positive vibe that they felt in there. You see that sometimes in churches and stuff like that. And I imagine, Tim, at some of your events, when you put on that and you got that good vibe going in there, people just don't jetpack for the door, you know. I mean, they because they don't want to leave that good, vibrant, positive energy, because they know what's waiting for them outside the world, right? With aggravation and everything else. But that's just the icing on the cake. That's their way of saying thank you for that beautiful music. Thank you for making me feel good in this moment. And they don't want to part from that because it's pure energy.
Right.
And have you experienced that? And not
Sure,
only
you know,
singing another.
in the Christian world, we call that the presence of the Holy Spirit, right? It's
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
it's the indwelling. It's His people. We are the temples that carry this this, you know, presence of God. This is the power that created the entire world. And when we're connected with Him, we have I mean, that's kind of where fulfillment comes from, when we're connected to the one that made us.
Yeah, it's like a lifeline.
So it is a lifeline. I mean, it's like if you take a cow off the earth, he can't survive anymore. But if you take a person away from God, they end up dying spiritually and physically, I guess, in the end, because they're not connected to their source. Your source is your creator, the one who made you, that made a way for you to have a relationship with him. So yeah, and that there's something about you know, it's like you read in the Bible where Jesus went somewhere, there was a crowd, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because he carried something that people didn't have.
Mhm.
So yeah, when you're talking about like Adam, like at our events, it was an interesting day, because I just felt like God's presence so strong the entire day, where someone came up to me I hadn't seen in a while, and she told me she got divorced. And I like started crying, because I felt it so personally, when normally I wouldn't do that. In those times, yeah, you're definitely kind of amongst other believers, and there is like a mutual fire, if you will, between you. So yeah.
Well,
And, you know,
I'd love to know, what you're currently doing, and just kind of, you know, wrap all that and see.
Well, we're doing, which you know about, you can't make it because you have other plans, Adam, is the August the 11th. We're doing we're doing another showcase event, which you know, we're hoping, Adam, if our schedules ever align, you can
things
kind
may or
of be
may
our
not
right
have
hand.
actually opened up. I just remembered.
Oh, well, hey, we're wanting Adam to be our right-hand man, kind of our go-to guy that can, help us be successful. Because right now in a lot of these shows, I have to do it. So I have to sing, I have to play guitar, I have to usually run the event, and I have to set up and run all the sound. It's not a recipe for success. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of shows coming up, and we have I'm not really trying to promote my band, but if anyone's interested, it's orishstreetmissionband.com. All our gigs are up on there, and we're releasing a second album in October. So we have a big
Good deal.
concert October 21st. So
Good deal.
yeah, and the song "New Mirror" is available. Just search Orange Street Mission.
Wow, good
Mission
deal.
Band, New Mirror,
Good
so.
deal. You know, Tim, I'm sorry we had the issues there at the beginning, but I tell you right now, I really enjoyed having you here on the show and
Yeah, I
hearing
enjoyed
your
this too.
message. And maybe we can get you back, and
Love to.
I'd like to do this here to kind of make up to the folks out there in the field at TV land. When you come back, if you could send us about a short clip of you and your band playing good audio, we will take a commercial break. We will play that song,
I like it.
and
can do
then
that,
we'll
yeah.
pass the collection plate, and Adam will be in charge of that. So, but yeah, let's do that. Let's make up plans on that in the future, Adam,
Okay,
because
yeah,
you
that sounds great.
spearhead that, and that way we can, enjoy some of the good music and share that with others, because I know there's people out there that love to hear it. Ladies and
Absolutely.
gentlemen, I'm so sorry our time is gone. We're at the 56-minute mark, and if I don't sign off, they'll pull my chain. But on behalf of Tim, thank you very much, first of all, for being with us, and we look forward to having you on again sometime soon with some good music. And on behalf of Adam and myself, we want to thank you folks out there for tuning in, making our show one of the most popular shows on E360 TV. We greatly appreciate it from the bottom of our heart. And on behalf of Tim, Adam, and myself, we sincerely hope and pray that you and your loved ones are healthy, happy, and blessed in all areas of your life. And we just hope and we just wish you the very, very best. And if you're going through some tough times, take a deep breath and relax. You're not alone. You're at the perfect place for you, but it's not where you're going to end up. Keep the faith. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day.
You are worth it.
You are worthy.
You are worth it.
You are worthy. You are worthy. Yeah, I like that. Tim, thank you again, sir. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.